back on.
What's happening?
What's up? Jim, thanks again for being with us.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
And I'll do a little introduction here, even though we don't have anybody on just yet. But Ben, like I said, Jim Loznicka, he's with 38 Coastal Life. He's the referral partner. If I have anybody who is looking to buy a house down in this area, his team is who I refer them to. Formerly with Keller Williams, now 38 Coastal Life. So yeah, Jim, thanks for being with us today. And I know there's a lot of people that are going to be interested in the process, and because people have been obviously flocking to the beach since the whole COVID pandemic thing happened. So thanks again for being with us.
Appreciate it. Hope give some insight, answer some questions maybe for people out there.
Absolutely. Ben, how's your week been so far, man?
Really good. Really good. Volume's good. So mortgage applications are up. Cool. Rates are kind of stabilized a little bit. We'll see what comes out of the Fed meeting here in a couple of weeks, but the bond market's kind of been up and down the past 2 weeks. So no really big changes on interest rates, still hovering, in that mid-5 range on a primary home. So which is, again, I think it's starting to people are starting to adjust to that rate. People are starting to get off the fence with the more listings coming on the market, more inventories on the market in the metro area, as we talked about last week. So I think, still a strong demand on the buyer side.
Good. So you've seen, you got some new applications in this week?
Yeah. So we got four people under contract the past 2 days. So there's definitely starting to, all of our approved buyers are definitely, the turn times are a lot quicker for them going under contract. They actually have a little bit of time to breathe and actually digest if they actually want to buy a home. Kind of what we talked about a couple weeks ago, where it's starting to kind of feel like they don't have to rush into a home or, pretty much write an offer unseen. It's just, I feel like there's a little bit more stabilization, you could say, on the buyer side.
Yeah, that's good. Get back more into like kind of a balanced market. What do you, Jim, what are you seeing down here right now in the last couple months since interest rates have gone up? What kind of changes? Have you guys seen any changes, or are you dealing with mostly just cash buyers down here?
No, we still have folks that are doing financing. I think really for like the period of about May 1 to about June 1, everything just kind of like everyone just put the brakes on everything they were doing. Like we had stuff under contract in the middle of May, and that 4-week period, mid-May to mid-June, it was like the big brakes just got pushed. And everyone, like Ben was saying, rates were going up. They went like this on my pen. They just went vertical for a few weeks straight. Everyone got kind of skittish and scared because the cash buyers want to hold on to their cash, obviously, and trying to leverage the cash into a better lending position. But people we're dealing with this time of year are mostly going to be in that $700,000 level or lower on a purchase price. And so they're financing because it's near the jumbo rate for the most part. But we had a lot of folks just in the holding pattern.
When you say
the last couple of weeks, I've seen some things ticking up with lower priced properties we have up for sale, like full-time residential properties. We've seen more activity because people now are qualified. They're accepting the 5% or 5.5% rate that's out there. So they understand what's ahead in the next 6 months or so. And the rates probably won't change a whole lot between now and the end of the year, very much. I mean, we may go up a little more, but people, like Ben said, people are accepting the rate the way it is now.
Yeah. You said something about this time of year. Is there a time of year when you're dealing more with people who are buying primary residences than people that are buying second homes or vacation homes?
I think the primary folks are probably out right now because school is out and they're trying to position for the end of the year. On 30A itself, there's not a whole lot of primary buyers because they're all second home buyers. But the real second home buyers come either in spring to position themselves ahead of the rental season to get the house ready to be on the rental market, or they're buying in the late fall to enjoy the home for the end of the year, position themselves for taxes at the end of the year, and also get the home ready to rent the next year. This time of year, it's mostly people who are trying to buy a smaller condo for investment to have some fun with, or they're primary buyers. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
Primary buyers. It's just hard to move a family in the middle of a school year. It's either going to be in December you're trying to buy and sell, or it's this time of year you're trying to buy and sell.
Right. Yeah, for sure. I mean, same as, obviously same as up in Atlanta, but you're seeing less investors or second home buyers right now in July than in the spring and fall and spring.
Well, I think they're out there because we speak to them all the time, but I just think in general, they're probably all like, we tell people in summertime, if you really want to invest, just wait, because as you know, Tyler, you've been down here vacationing. It's hard to see a property in its pristine situation or pristine look when you've got renters in every day and you're moving over a cleaning crew or a checkout crew, things like that. You want to see a house the way it's meant to be seen and meant to be looked. So it's always easier to do things in the fall and the winter with our buyers than it is this time of year, because it's always a Saturday showing for us when renters check in and check out.
Okay. How competitive is the market? I know you and I met, I think it was last year or maybe the year before we met, and you were talking about how the market had gotten more competitive since COVID. Are you still seeing that same competitiveness in the market, or has it slowed down a little bit? The same as kind of.
Yeah, things have slowed. I mean, I don't think we've done anything since maybe the springtime was a multiple offer situation.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, it's pretty much, it's on the market. It's one offer. That offer's come in. We try and work that offer, see what happens. We've gone from people who are paying all cash to financing. We're back to sellers allowing financing options, which is unusual. The last year, pretty much, it was always no financing contingency, cash only.
Right.
And if you financing, you have 20 days to get it all financed and approved. Now we're back to the 30 days or even 30 business days, which is a 45 calendar day window. We're back to seller incentives like we're doing. We're in home I have for sale now. We're offering a buyer buy down on the rate.
Yeah.
Which is kind of how it was. You have to think, but it was that way back, 2012, 2011, 2013, somewhere in there. We had all those incentive things like that. So I think people are just not, I think given the market, the overall climate we're in right now with how the stock market and the economy is going, I think people are not just rushing to be, the fear of missing out has kind of moved on. And you can still get a house that you want without having to jump over everybody else to get that same kind of house. I mean, there's a little more inventory too, which helps. So where there would have been one house in a neighborhood for sale, there's now 4 or 5 per neighborhood for sale. So you can kind of wait and pick the way you want to be in the house you want to be in.
So one of the things that we were talking about right before we went live were sort of sweet spots or good areas for folks who maybe don't have a budget for like Rosemary or Seaside, in this 30A kind of area. Because I've noticed that I was just looking at it recently, and like you said, you can't get anything under $1 million in Rosemary. So where's a good area for a little bit smaller budget in the 30A area?
Yep, and I'm working with we just closed one buyer who's in that sweet spot. I got 2 more we're working with right now. And it's in the Seagrove Beach area. So Seagrove Beach is, it's about 6 or 8 miles west of Rosemary Beach and maybe about a mile east of Seaside. So it's closer to Seaside if you think about on the map where things are. It's about a mile, 15-minute walk to Seaside where Seagrove Beach is. And Seagrove Beach has a lot of condos were built in the mid-'80s, early 90s. So they're not as they don't have the modern amenities like the newer things in Rosemary have. They're not a newer build. So you're going to have condos have lower ceilings. They're probably a frame build instead of a concrete build construction. But the entry point is the price. It's, you get a 2-bedroom condo, a block from the water for around $600,000.
Mm-hmm.
And a block being a true block, we're talking probably 100 yards or less. You can be on the 30A side, which is the north side of the highway, and you can be in a 2 or 3 bedroom condo for around $600,000. You have to walk more to the beach. You may have to walk 400 yards to the beach. You can still hear the water at night. You can see the water from the end of the street. A little more walking, but on that budget, that's what you expect.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Seagrove Beach, again, it's about a mile to the east of Seaside. There I can think of one neighborhood called Beachside Condos. It's about 100 yards from the beach. They range in price from $600,000 to about $750,000. You've got Seagrove Highlands, which are all 1, 2, and 3 bedroom condos, and they range anywhere from $450,000 to about $630,000. And we have We have a townhome development behind there as well, behind the Seagrove Highlands, and they are all in the 700s. They're 2 bedrooms, freestanding townhomes, so you actually own some land on those. And there's one more development within near Grove by the Sea. There are a few townhomes in there that range probably in the mid 500s as well. So that's kind of the starter area where I put people if they want to be around 700,000 or less. And really, $1 million, that's a tipping point for a lot of people. That's a pressure point. It makes people uncomfortable. I don't think that's what I'm saying like that. No.
It makes me uncomfortable.
Right. But in the market we're talking about, where you guys live, homes are valued at that kind of number. So they understand what to expect on a mortgage rate or a note, or what to expect on a payment when they have a property already. It's $1 million. So they're thinking, it's a little steep, but if I can pull it down a bit on a purchase and rent it back, I could probably make that note work each and every single month.
Yeah. So how many, when you have people coming down who this is their first time buying a vacation home or a beach home, what kind of questions do you get from them as far as like, how am I going to be able, will I be able to rent this place out and those kind of things? Do you help out with that kind of stuff?
Yeah, we have to know all those questions. And usually we get people that pretty much understand 30A when they get here. They already know which end of the beach they want to be on. They want to be on the western end of 30A, which is like Grayton Beach or beyond, or they want to be on the eastern end, Rosemary Beach, Alice, Seacrest Beach, Seaside, the likes, things like that. They kind of have an understanding of where they want to be. But when they first come to us with a house, it's almost inevitably, what did the house rent for last year, or what can it rent for next year? Mm-hmm. And usually we try and have those numbers in advance. If it's listed for sale, we kind of know the numbers because it's been provided by the agent. But we did one back in the spring. It was a brand new build in a brand new area we haven't sold in a while. And so I was being asked on the spot what we think rental values are going to be. And, the people were kind of surprised. They thought it was kind of low. I'm like, well, the neighborhood has no pool, but you have a beach. So people come here thinking, well, we don't need a pool because it's more upkeep. But our beaches are closed a lot because of weather or jellyfish, or just in general, it's too cold to swim and you need a pool, and it helps rental income. So these are small things that people don't understand, but usually we try and find a property for somebody that's going to rent about 7 to 8% of the purchase price. So if you're spending, let's say $1 million, you want it to rent for about $75,000 a year on a gross rental income to make sure it makes sense. That way you pretty much can cover your mortgage on that. You may have some incidentals you have to cover with HOA fees and electricity and whatnot, but it'll cover the majority of your note every year.
Okay.
And we do have to have those numbers. Everyone wants to know what it's going to rent for. We have to know those really off the top of our head. Even if it's a phone call or a text, they want us to know pretty quickly. So
are you guys using
first on the rental market here?
Are you using like AirDNA or something just to look at what's rented in the past, what average nightly rent, occupancy rate, and all that fun stuff?
So I don't use that. I know it's a paid service down here, and I've seen it, and I've looked at some of them when it's a free setup and use it for a bit. A lot of people use that. I pretty much will just take, if it's a property for sale and I know who's renting the rental company is, I'll just call that rental manager and be able to get that information on the backside. It helps a lot. Some rental companies don't provide that at all. They just say, hey, it's going to rent for XYZ dollars. They can't break it out by week. Then I have to actually ask the owner of the house, if we're selling it, what they rent it for per week. If I don't get any information like that I need, I have 2 or 3 property management businesses here that I'm familiar with. I can call them and get that information from them. Just give me a rough idea. If you had this house, what would you rent it for in this certain time of the year? Okay. Most companies here are good at breaking it down. We're a 4-season market. Believe it or not, we have a lot of people here in the winter months, a lot of snowbirds in the winter months. We're a 4-season market, and we're 4 weeks in each of those seasons. So like right now, Tyler, we're in summer season, and we're in peak summer because it's July. It's Atlanta vacation season right now here at the beach. Anything from July 4th through the start of the school year is peak summer. It's the highest of the high of what you're going to pay for rental income this time of year. If you're going to be renting, you'll be paying at the peak, a premium.
Gotcha. Do sale prices coincide with those rental prices in June?
So it definitely can help the sale price. In some cases, a house, we could have 2 houses next to each other, and one can be renting for a certain amount less than the other house. It could be for finishes inside, and the finishes on that house and making more rental income can drive up the purchase price on that particular house over the other house. It's not as updated, but still has good rental numbers, if that makes sense.
Gotcha.
So if you can show you're making more money on a property, you can effectively drive up your purchase price because it makes it more valuable at the end of the day. It's a commodity.
Yeah, no, that's one of those things that like finishes aren't super important to me as far as renting a place, but they really are to my wife. She really wants like nice countertops in the house that she's staying in for 5 days.
I mean, that's our market right now. They're right there in a nutshell. Like you asked me before, like how the market has changed. Well, the market here has become one where people are going to invest this kind of money, which we're over $1 million market right now. They're going to invest this kind of money. Everything in the house has to be done. Like if you're doing any work on a house, it has to be priced appropriately for the work that has to be done inside, because no one's just buying a house to buy a house now. You know, that COVID rush of I got to get my hands on something to be at the beach, to have a place to work and live. That has all passed. That ended at the end of last year. People are buying now. People will pay top dollar for anything that's just finished to the nines. If it's done and done right, they will pay for it. If it's any small thing is missing, it's going to sit on the market for a while.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
So
Jim, do you think you guys will see I guess we're starting to see, of course, inventory sit a little bit longer in Atlanta, and we're also seeing price reductions. Are you seeing the price reductions? Do you think that, you'll see more price reductions or lower price points? What are you guys going to see down there?
Well, so we're seeing more price reduction. I actually got the numbers in a couple of days ago. I think we're doing this past month, so it will be the month of June. I think the market had 40% of the listings had price reductions in the month of June that are on either in the 30A. You can take one end or the other. We're only 2 zip codes, so that's how you figure it out. But either zip code here, they both average about 40% price reductions of the number of listings, which is quite a bit. Yeah. But I mean, a price reduction could be $1. It could be several $1,000s. It could be hundreds of thousands of dollars over the course of a listing. But I'm just saying, in general, we are seeing price reductions. It's a case where people are on the market, they want to sell, but like we just mentioned before, the finishes may not be just right. So you may have your house priced for the last house sold, but that house doesn't have the finishes that the new house has. So you have to kind of come into terms with that as a seller and realize, well, okay, the market has changed. We still want to sell, but we got to be where the market is now, because the market moves like this. The market moves up and down. It's a house is not a stock, but it moves like that based on the demands of buyers each and every week.
Yeah.
But we're seeing more price reductions, seeing a few more incentives. But in general, I think half the listings we have 400 something listings. I guess we're at 1,000 total between each end of the beach, something like that. Half of those went under price reduction in the last month, somewhere along those lines.
Half of those, man, that's a lot higher than.
They still sell pretty quick. That's the other thing. I mean, we move inventory a lot here. I mean, I'm looking at some numbers now, and there are sold on Tyler on my end of the beach, the east end of the beach. Like right now, this last month, we did 20 sales. Our team didn't, but the MLS here shows 20 sales of over $5 million just last month between Seaside and Rosemary Beach. So even with the price reduction, the prices here are still amazingly healthy.
Sure.
That's kind of the difference.
Gotcha. Okay. So you're seeing price reductions, but home prices overall are still on the rise.
Yes. In fact, both ends of our beach here are still on the rise. I think the east end of 30A is kind of leveling a bit. The sales figures have gone up some, but they're only going up like a couple percentage points per month. The western end of the beach, 30A side, has kind of gone up in that 10 to 12% range. So it's still moving upwards, but overall I think it's leveled out quite a bit from where it was a year ago.
Gotcha. Yeah. We saw the prices kind of in Atlanta, which are not, where they are here, but we saw them just sort of flatten out in June, but who knows? That could just be 1 month and they'll continue to go up from there. But
yeah, like I said, it's also hard here in summertime because there are a lot of things for sale in summer because everybody wants to capitalize on the eyeballs that are here vacationing. You might be Tyler, you might be here vacationing and we'll look at a property. Well, we'll put on the market because we know vacationers are here.
Right.
It's the more eyeballs and getting it in front of more people a lot easier. But like I said before, it's also easier to sell in the in the off season because you can see a property at ease, at your own comfort, and walk through without being rushed with no cleaners, see property the way it's meant to be seen and viewed, and enjoy the surroundings of the property and the neighborhoods the way they're supposed to be viewed, not just in a hustle and bustle, rental frenzy like we have right now.
We've never been down here in the summer before. This is our first time visiting, and it's different for
Yeah.
sure. I thought fall break was busy. This is busy down here. I mean, it's a wait to get the line to go in everywhere right now.
It's like spring break over 12 weeks.
Yeah.
That.
Yeah.
That's what it's like. Spring break is only 4 weeks here, so it's 12 full weeks of spring break every week here.
Hey, those I was looking at, this is kind of a question just for me, but those condos, the 2-bedroom condos on the dry side of Rosemary, there's all those buildings back there. That's where they call them the flats, right? Like that's where we normally rent. What are those average sale price on those right now?
Yeah, I think the most recent one was around $1.5 million.
I saw that. I was
somewhere in there. I know we sold one literally, I think in 2018. It was around 700,000, and then COVID changed all that. We sold it, and it was an unrenovated unit. Mm-hmm. The buyers have gone in and they've gutted the kitchen, they had gutted the bathrooms, they gutted out the living room, and they redid the floors. So it's worth a lot more now, obviously. But that's what people were doing 4 or 5 years ago, and now they're holding. But I think $1.5 million, $1.6 million is where they've been, and they've gone up in price because of what around us has gone up in price. Mm-hmm. Alice Beach condos are now selling for closer to $2 to $3 million, and it pushes that price up around them. Everyone else gets Yeah,
that's what I saw that one at $1.5 million, and I was like, man, well, maybe that was just a one-off, because the last time I looked at them, they were somewhere around, high 7s, low 8s, and that's really jumped up real quick.
Yeah, I mean and Ben could attest to this. I think the interest rate market changed a lot of people's buying reality. Is that what, like I said before, $1 million used to be the number here. Everyone can have $1 million now, I feel like, in 38 because of how interest rates were. They were so low for so long and so accommodating. You could afford to push your price out a little more on purchase price. And everybody wanted the condo because they're low maintenance. And if you're going to be here working from home or working during COVID, it's okay. You got a condo. You can come and go as you want. And it's easier to just have it to rent. There's no maintenance. It's low. It's easy. But I think the interest rates fueled a lot of those prices here over the last couple of years. But still, people paying cash, so there's nothing going down. It's just a matter of people's leverage became a lot easier.
Right.
That's just my opinion.
So as far as this is the last question I had on my list for you, but as far as you say come and go as you please, how does the property management side work? I know in Rosemary, it seems like everybody just about rents through Rosemary Beach Cottage Rental, right? In other places, do you guys connect them with the property man? You refer them to property management companies? How do you handle that?
Yeah, so the only town here that you have to use a rental company for is Alice Beach. So if you buy in Alice Beach, you have to use Alice Beach to rent your house. They don't allow anybody from the outside to come in. But everybody else that I'm aware of, you can use whatever company you want, or you can do it yourself, like Airbnb or a VRBO. We do refer people when they want to do a property manager and they need one. We always have some in our hip pocket. It depends on where you're renting, though, on where you want to be on the beach, because like in Rosemary Beach, there are companies I would refer to Rosemary Beach in addition to Rosemary Beach Cottage Rental. Because, if you're buying in Rosemary Beach, there's something to be said about showing up and going to the front desk there in Rosemary Beach and getting your key. If there's an issue while you're there, you can go to the front desk right there and talk to somebody and get things fixed or alleviated right there on the site. If you're using an off-site person, you have to use a phone and wait for someone to show up. So there's always some benefits to being on-site in one of these neighborhoods, if you will.
That's what I like about it.
But we do also we don't refer just a person to people. We refer usually 5 options to people. And we give them a contact and or an email, and it's always an email introduction. So it's like, hello, meet my client X. This is the property manager Y. They're going to be buying property Z. We want to know about your program. Like, what can you offer my buyer as far as like incentives, linen programs? Do you do things on VRBO? Do you advertise on Airbnb? What are your rates going to be? What can we expect to make on this property? Things like that. So we kind of get them in front of our buyer to understand the process a little more in depth because it's a lot of things that have to happen to be in the property management. I mean, it's not just, hey, list my property, go and rent it and be done with it. There's a lot of things in and out you have to understand. The biggest is always what am I going to pay? Like what's your commission going to be off my rental? That's the number one thing people always ask.
Right. Oh, that's a good question right there.
Yeah,
What is, because I know it's higher here than it is in Atlanta. What can you give us what the average property management company that you've seen charges down here?
I think 22.5% is probably average.
22.5.
I'm doing some now that are around 20. I've got some that are 25. I've seen some as low as 15 to 18%.
Okay.
But I don't know what their services are. I can see what they're charging. I don't know about their services. So if I know what their services are adding into it, it's usually around 22%.
Okay.
And the services being, Tyler, they're going to provide linens for you. So they'll come in and do a linen changeover every week. So new linens in the house, new towels in the house every week. They'll provide like a starter soap kit, some starter napkins or paper towels, a starter toilet tissue, things like that. They also provide it's how they clean the house. They might provide a deep clean every quarter or 2 or 3 times a year, however they see fit. The cleaning crew will have a supervisor, so the house is being cleaned appropriately on a time schedule, things like that. And they find out how you advertise on Airbnb, VRBO, and how you advertise on your own site as well through past clients and what you do for your revenue, for your marketing. So there's a lot of things that go into that.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, that's good to know. 22.5% average. That sounds, for some reason I had heard at one point, there was one specific company that I heard was like somewhere in the 30% range, but
yeah, we had those not too long ago. I think you and I talked about one time. They were some in the 30% range, but I think there are so many more options here now for renting that you have to stay within the market.
Right.
Like if you're charging 30%, you have to differentiate yourself. Just be ready for that. I can tell you this call right now, if you're going to be in Alice Beach and you want to buy in Alice Beach and you're going to rent through Alice Beach, they're going to keep about half of your money. It's a 50% fee. And you may ask, why is that? Okay. So Alice Beach, they actually have their own database they work with. They actually only publish the houses that are for rent, and you can't see a rate online. You actually have to call to rent the house, and the rate can change from week to week. They dictate the rates based on the number of phone calls they're getting or the activity, if you will. And they try and keep Alice Beach as quiet as possible without being overrun by renters, if that makes sense.
Man, so if you're going to buy in Alice Beach, you almost need to just live in Alice Beach.
Well, it's truly a second home environment for Alice Beach anyway, but people do rent in there. But that's the reason they're making it so high. They're not making it where it's unaffordable. They're just trying to keep control of their own little environment. They want Alice Beach to maintain that whole Alice Beach feel and mentality without being a party district. They want to be family oriented and the kind of clientele they want in their neighborhood. That's what they're looking out for.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's the same with every rental company up down the beach. The rates they charge dictate the clientele you're going to get. If you're spending $7,000 a week, it's a different clientele than you're spending for $1,000 a week. Let's just be honest. It is what it is. Because you're not a family with the budget, or you are a self-employed person who has an unlimited budget. It is what it is. You may be beachfront, or you may be 10 blocks off the beach. It's still a vacation at the end of the day.
Right.
On that 38 area, do you guys run into like the issue with condos being like non-warrantable or condo tails, or is that more on like the Destin, Panama City sides where you run into, like on my side, sometimes we run into issues financing condos that are non-warrantable or they end up being a condo tail. Do you run into that on that 38 area, or is it more on the outside of the 38 area? You see that?
Well, it's mostly outside of 38, but we do have one condo here, which is called The Point. The Point is where 98 US Highway 98 and 38 intersect, and we're watching it's near Shades Bar and Grill. That condo is a non-warrantable condo, so typically it's going to be a cash buyer.
Yeah,
if it's not a cash buyer, they'd have to go through UBIN or another private lender that can make the lending happen on the back end. But the non-warrantable condos are more common in Panama City Beach and Destin. It's because of the age of the condo, first off. Or it's also because they have the check-in desk at the bottom.
Yeah, or a lot of times, in those condo questionnaires that we have to turn into our people, sometimes the rental rate is higher than the, the or what I think is it rental versus primary?
Correct. Yeah.
anyways, that throws it off as well. And so
the number of full-time people compared to the number of renters in the unit. Yeah. We get a lot of that too, but that's mostly at Destin and Panama City Beach because those condos are all built and they have the check-in desk at the bottom floor. You walk in, you could be driving in Tyler, you could drive in tonight. You want to say, let's go to Destin tonight and hang out for a little bit. Just go start hitting condo to condo, go to a check-in desk and you can check into a condo for the night. That's a condo.
Yeah.
Because they run like a hotel, but it's a condominium. That's how I explain it to people what a condo hotel is. But almost all of those around us are non-warrantable. 38 is different because all the condos don't have that specific setup, and they're all a little different lay of the land, so they're all pretty much warrantable. I think the only one I know of is the Point on 30A, which is non-warrantable, and that again, it's just a cash. If it's cash, you got to pay it. Otherwise, you're going to. I think the rates. And you can speak to the rates, Ben, but I've done some non-warrantable rates, non-warrantable condos, and the rates are usually double what you're going to pay on a home.
You're going to pay for it. There's definitely a rate hit on those.
Yeah,
you're probably going to get. You're not going to go through a, like a traditional agency Fannie Freddie loan. I mean, it's definitely going to be like a non-QM type mortgage for sure.
Yeah, probably 2 to 2.5% higher on points, I would think.
Yeah.
And that, like Ben said, Tyler, the non-warrantable, you just can't. Freddie or Fannie won't touch it.
Yeah,
so it's another lender outside the primary market that will lend all that. It's the secondary lenders that will handle all of that.
I mean, you might even have some credit unions down there that invest in those. You just never know what somebody's appetite for that non-warrantable business is.
Well, Jim, thanks again for being with us, man. We hit our 30-minute mark here. Before we go, share your contact information with everybody so they know. This is going to go. The recorded version of this will go on YouTube as well, so you can put up all your contact information. Jim is down here on the Gulf Coast, 30A area. I'm sure you go outside of 30A, but Destin, Panama City. Any of this stuff. So how do people get there?
I'll go as far west as probably some of Destin. I'll go as far east as Panama City Beach. Just because the drive, you get outside of that, you're probably like an hour either way. So it's pretty easy. But yeah, I'm Jim Loznicka. I'm the broker for 30A Coastal Life. You can catch me on 30acoastallife.com, or you can email me at jim38coastal@gmail.com for any questions or information.
Cool.
Okay. Awesome. Yeah. Thanks again for being with us. Anybody who is interested in buying a beach home, give Jim a call.
And you can be on the beach. Remember, you can be on the beach for under $600,000 in many cases.
There you go.
On the beach, a block from the water. No lie. Just give me a call.
I got to go down there and check that out. I didn't even know about that. I got to go and check that out. That's awesome.
Yep. No worries.
You need to drive over there right now, Tyler.
We're going back down to Seaside tomorrow, so I'll drive by Seagrave and check it out. All right. Well, y'all have a good night. Thanks again, Jim.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Thank you very much. All right.
Appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Thanks.
See you.